it. Stephen Caulker has got a debut goal for England.
Jordan Henderson, Adam Lallana, Wayne Rooney, Daniel Sturridge.
The people from the outside understand.
As I moved through the leagues and started to earn more and more money, my gambling got worse and worse and worse. Because I was in the public eye.
Good afternoon and welcome to season 3 of the club, episode 2. And for me, something very different. We've had lots of variety in terms of the guests coming on, but this is hot off the press, massive news for FC Malaga City. Delighted to be introducing live our new joint manager coming into the Tercera squad, and today I'm joined by Stephen Caulker. So thank you so much for your time and coming in, and obviously it's been kind of a baptism of fire jumping in this week, and you're on a plane on Sunday, or coming on working Sunday, playing on Monday, and straight on the pitch with the squad. So how's it all been arriving here?
Well, firstly, I feel really welcome to be here. You know, the boys have made me feel at home, which is always nice to get a nice introduction. The staff, you know, we've had a great introduction from everybody. So I feel good. I feel settled.
Yeah.
I need to learn Spanish rapidly. I'm well aware of that. So I have a little foundation, but that's in the back of my mind right now. Going, okay, let's really move things forward and crack on with the Spanish.
But I think, you know, when you say that about the Spanish, everyone's like commended you and been really impressed with you. You're trying to use the vocabulary you got. You're very confident. You know, the first talk you gave to the team when you addressed them was in Spanish, and for me, that was, you know, huge respect for. And it would have been easy to say, you know, can someone translate this for me? But you straight away came in and showed, you know, the impetus you're going to put into it. And you know, for us, it's been a breath of fresh air. We're changing the dynamic of the squad and the club. It was a difficult year last year in Tercera, and we had a good start this year, but it's gone off the rails a little bit. And you know, we've been speaking a lot, and I think you coming in, it shows the direction of where we want to go. You know.
Well, it's a project. You know, that's what I'm here to do. I see it in a few days training. I can see the individual talent.
Yeah.
I can see collectively what we're capable of.
Yeah.
It's just bringing that together and, you know, bringing in a few ideas to add to the job you guys have already done. You know, you've built an amazing foundation here. So
Thank you.
if I can add to that, then great.
Brilliant. I mean, you've come in at a time where, you know, the academy isn't active right now. All the junior lads have all gone home back to their countries and they're resting. You know, so it's just the two senior teams, you know, ourselves and Malaga City, that are still sort of training and getting through this last game. You know, so we have a big audience in terms of our players that are at home that will see this, the families that support them. You know, so I think it's great to start diving in a little bit of, you know, who is Stephen Caulker, your background, give us a little bit of a rundown of yourself. I mean, people Googling you straight away are gonna know, obviously came through at Tottenham, you know, worked, you know, right through into the first team, a few loan spells, and then incredible opportunity to work under Klopp at Liverpool, you know, is the huge headlines. But it'd be great to hear in your words a little bit about your journey and, you know, how you found it being at the highest elite level.
Well, as you touched on that, I was fortunate enough to play under some of the best managers out there right now. But to get there was a lot of hard work, right? It was a long journey. So, I mean, I went on trial for clubs, academies from the age of 7, 8, 9. I was constantly getting rejected.
Okay.
Got told once I had 2 left feet. So it was like, it was tough, right? And you know, my parents are working full time. They're having to drive me to training. I'm having to get like public transport back. It was a lot of effort goes into that, as it does for every child who wants to make it, who has a dream of making it. So that happened all the way up until the age of 15. And at 15, I changed positions from centre mid to centre back, thanks to one coach who suggested, you go to the back, just try it. And I did, and all the trials came at once. So I then had Watford, QPR, Southampton, and Tottenham. So it all came at once. Didn't know who to choose. Tottenham just kind of happened. It kind of, I never really chose it. It just kind of happened, if you like. And 2 sessions all it took. I went there, I bought the wrong boots. I bought the big metal studs, thinking out on the grass. But was up on the latest 4G, you know, all the amazing facilities that these academies have. And I just thought, how am I going to play? How am I going to train? So the academy manager actually lent me his boots. And it almost just took all that pressure that I used to put on myself for every trial, all the nerves I used to have just went. Because I thought, playing someone else's boots, I've nothing to lose. I've got the other trials there waiting for me.
Just enjoy
and
it.
Just enjoy it. And it was the first time I was able to actually perform under pressure because I sort of removed the pressure. Got signed 2 sessions in, amazing. Couldn't wait to tell everyone at school that I've got the new kit. I'm going to be playing for Tottenham, you know, all the excitement. But really, that's when the hard work started. So I thought all along, once I get signed, that'll be it. But that's just the beginning. You know,
the start line.
Exactly. You know, 99% of players who are in academies aren't making it pro. right? At any level. So from there, that's where the hard work really started. And I started to learn about body fat, started to learn about ice baths, started to learn about, having to do double sessions in a day, all that kind of stuff. So that was a work in progress for me, but it happened like that. I had really good coaches around me and they just pulled me under their wing and was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to work on the things that need improving and we're going to leave that raw talent that you have. Definitely. Keep that raw bit you have. So by the time I was 17, I was out on loan and it moved really quickly.
Did you ever feel like, so I'm sure you went into the squad, I'm not exactly sure the players that you went in with there at Spurs, but they probably a lot more than that since they were 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you ever have like a feeling of pressure that, not you were behind the race, but you came in at 15? It's quite late for the English system and sort of a lot of the boys at FC Malaga City Academy, obviously that's the reality for them as well, that sometimes they're very apprehensive, they have anxiety. I'm 15, I'm 16, I'm 17, I've got to be somewhere, and we're saying we're producing you first and then we're getting you ready to go into that. Did you ever have that back in mind, or it was just, I'm here, I'm another one of the squad and I'm going to show you who I am? Or?
No, I definitely had that. I definitely carried that fear with me. I felt that they were better than me. I mean, technically, they definitely were better than me. They had like years and years in the system of, developing technically under the best coaches in the world. I'd come from maybe a bit more of a raw background, playing Sunday League. No disrespect to them, I had some really good coaches, and I had the best years of my career playing that kind of football. That was where I really enjoyed it the most. But it was when I went there to Tottenham, I then started to learn the technical side of the game, the tactical side of the game. So I was playing catch up, but what helped me was the rawness. That's
something different.
Exactly, it's something different. I had that raw passion. I came in through the door. I wasn't comfortable. The boys there who'd been there since 7 were slightly comfortable. I came in, I was ready to do whatever the coach wanted me to do. And it started to all come together. But you mentioned, maybe some of the players, my age group, frightening. The year below my age and the year above, and you're all kind of mixing together.
Yeah, of course.
Harry Kane was the year below. Andros Townsend, Ryan Mason the year above. I mean, there's so many more names. I could Caulker, Danny Rose, all these boys were a couple of years above. So the academy at the time was incredible, right? And I've probably missed out about 15 names there. So just to give you an idea, I wasn't walking into a dressing room that,
They're struggling.
Yeah, so struggling. I'm walking into a dressing room that demands from you, but that helped me.
And pushed you on to have to either catch up and sink or swim effectively.
Exactly that.
And so how old were you when you got a pro then? So you said you went on loan at 17, you got an early pro and went straight through.
Yeah, exactly. So I was in my last year at school when I joined. So I did that 1 year as a schoolboy. Then I went straight into as a scholar. Did 1 year as a scholar. Was playing up. So I was progressing really well, playing with the reserves. And I went on loan at 17. Best thing I ever did. Best thing I ever did. The coaches were, I'm sure he's 17, he's a centre-back, should we send him on loan to first team football? The best thing they ever did, for sure.
And the first loan you had, where did you go?
Yeovil Town. They were in League One. Just amazing to go and play alongside men who were fighting for their mortgages, men who were fighting for their marriages. There's all sorts, coming into a dressing room, there's all sorts going on, right? As you're well aware yourself. So being in that environment just opened my eyes. All of a sudden, it's a different kind of pressure now. Playing in front of 20,000 when we used to play Norwich away, Charlton away, Leeds away, all these teams, Southampton away, they're all League One at the time. So amazing to feel that pressure, but in a good way, start to find ways to deal with it.
Was you ever, so when you're now like mentoring and speaking to young players, is your advice to get out on loan as quickly as possible?
Yeah, definitely. If you've got the opportunity to go and play first team football, do it, I just think that the opportunity to go and play in a first team environment, be around the players, look what they do. Not every player, obviously. There's moments where you look and go,
that's what not to do.
Exactly. Very true. Yeah, and I'm sure I've had moments like that in my career. But on the whole, you look at your Harry Kanes, you look at your, for me, I'd say Andros Townsend again is another, like someone who's so focused, so committed to being the best version of himself. And it's like, that for me is like, those are the people you want to stay with, right? You find what works for you as an individual, but you could certainly learn from those who are at the very top.
But when I visit clubs, I'm fortunate sometimes to go and see, we go to Tottenham to a global partner of them as well. And this wasn't related to that, it's just a coincidence. And you see the amazing facilities. So you're 17, you've got 15 bowling green pitches to train every day, and you're going on to Yeovil, which, without being disrespectful, I've played at Yeovil Stadium as well, funny enough. That's really closer to my kind of career that I had. And it's not the same as Tottenham or Tottenham Stadium or the Premier League. It's very different. It's like rural area, quite countryside. I see a lot of the boys and they seem almost terrified to go out on loan now. They're like, I've got it so good, I'm so comfortable, I've got my prehab room, I've got this, I've got the physios, etc. Ice baths you mentioned. How do you think you break that barrier and try and educate a young player that, okay, it's not going to be exactly the same, it's going to come out of your comfort zone, but what you're going to get is going to push you on in where you want to be?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think I think what a big problem is you get the one or two players that go straight through and straight to the top, right? So at my age was also like a Jack Wilshere at Arsenal, right? So if you're comparing our paths, I could easily go, well, hold on, Jack's straight at Arsenal. You know, he's Champions League, he's doing this, he's doing that. But that wasn't what I did. I just focused on myself, and I think you're absolutely right. When I went to Yeovil, it's you're completely out of the bubble. The bubble's popped, that's gone. You know, you're at Yeovil. They've got one training pitch that's getting beaten up daily. I stayed in a hotel for a year. So me, Ryan Mason, John Abika stayed in a B&B for a year. And a lot of players you hear now, like, I'm not going to do that. You know, I want to be in the home comforts. But actually going there, learning to cook. You know, we had the tiny little kitchen in the back of the B&B where we used to cook. We'd be out eating most days because we never really knew how to cook. We was tired of beans on toast. But those for me gave me some life lessons, you know, and that was for me like the most important. Played football, played every week, ended up having a really successful loan. And that put me in the shop window for the following season, where I then stepped up again to the Championship.
Definitely. And I mean, so had quite a few loan deals, and I suppose one of the biggest one, how did it come about with Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, and what's that story? Where did that sort of come from?
Well, that didn't come around until 24. You know, a lot happened in between that time. I'd gone on to obviously go through the Championship, get to the Premier League, sort of establish myself at Tottenham. Then make a decision where I rushed to leave. That's something that, if any young player listening to this, patience is key. You know, patience is key. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. I look back then, I think I had so many opportunities at Tottenham to stay, to build something, build a legacy. And I panicked. I was stressed. I was upset with the manager. I hadn't played only 45 games that year. I only played 27 games as a 20-year-old for Tottenham. I made my England debut. It's a lot, right? But I just couldn't see at the time. I wanted more. And I look back now and I'm like, if I was a bit more patient, because the manager actually left a couple of months after I'd gone.
It could have all been different.
It could have been different, but it's my journey, right? I'm in a position today to obviously share that story with other players, and it's certainly been a big part of me wanting to be a coach so young. So roll on to the age of 24, and I get the phone call to go and join Liverpool. So I don't know how that came about. I still don't know today how I ended up playing for Liverpool, playing up front for Liverpool. Even more bizarre, but just incredible moments for me. And also, you know, during that loan spell there, that 6 months I spent there, I got to work under an amazing coach, and that was right at the beginning of his time at Liverpool.
Of course.
So I got to see exactly what he demanded in order to get to where they are today. You know, it hasn't got there by chance. Trust me, the process was insane. First 3 months, I didn't have one day off. Didn't have one single day off. It was intense. We were training 2 hours every single day, working on the shape, working on the press. There's a reason why they're one of the best pressing teams in the world. Even before the games, we'd go out of the hotel, go to the training pitch, we'd do an hour. You know, walking through, pressing. So he had a bigger picture in mind, and it's amazing for me to sort of sit back and go, wow, everything that he worked on, everything he said then, came to fruition.
Definitely. And what was the difference in, obviously Tottenham's a fantastic club. Was there any difference when you went to like a Liverpool, a bit more history? You know, I feel like that, playing for a club like that, you kind of have that on your shoulders all the time, and all the trophies they won and the league titles they won, and at that point, obviously, no Premier League title still at that stage. Can you feel that pressure when you go to a club like that?
If I'm honest, there was more pressure at Tottenham because I was one of the home-based players, and I was the first one alongside, I guess, Jake Livermore. It was one of the first couple of players to break through since Ledley King. So I sort of actually felt more pressure being back at Tottenham than I did at Liverpool, because Liverpool at the time weren't doing great. You know, it was Klopp that sort of re-galvanised Liverpool and made them what they are today. So I never kind of felt the pressure of their history. I just felt, I think when I got up there, got off the train, got there, saw the size of the club. First home game was at home to Arsenal at Anfield, and it's like, wow, that was probably for me the moment where I was like, oof, you know, I mean, the songs before kick-off. When Klopp gives me the finger, you're coming on. It's like, wow, that's when I probably actually took in, this is a huge club, a huge moment.
And what kind of, did you have any habits before games or things that you do on like a game day to try and prepare you to go out there in front of like 50, 60,000 people? I mean, that's a hell of a challenge. That's what a lot of players, I think, you see so many players are so good in training, and even when it gets to the game day, they can't deliver the same stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's a really good question, to be fair. When I was younger, I used to be really nervous before I went on the pitch. I used to really carry them nerves with me, and it was all about the first pass and the first header, but what happens if that went wrong? You know, because sometimes you do lose the first header and you do misplace the first pass. So I had to grow out of that, actually. And then what I do today, what I've done in the past 5 years, is just simplify it and go, what can I control? So I can control how hard I'm going to work, control how fast I'm going to run, I can control how aggressive I'm going to be. I have 4 or 5 basics that I can control,
Yeah.
stick to them. I go out there, I make sure no matter what I do them. That just breeds confidence in me.
Definitely.
So from the first whistle goes, I'm like, bang, I'm aggressive,
Yeah.
I'm running, I'm working my socks off, I'm communicating.
Yeah.
It's another one.
Yeah.
It's so important to be vocal. It's not
Yeah.
just for me, I mean, it does help me stay focused.
Yeah.
It's also important for my left back, for my centre mid, for my
Yeah.
right side centre, for my goalkeeper. So
Yeah.
they're the sort of basics that I focus on, and the rest just takes care of itself.
Exactly. Once you've got that kind of framework, it allows the rest just to sort of happen naturally. That sounds amazing. So I mean, moving through, you become captain for the first time. Was it Cardiff?
Yeah, I mean, 21 years of age, decided to leave Tottenham in that moment of, I'm not going to say madness because I had a really good time in Cardiff, but just that moment of like, wow, I just want to be there, I want to be there. The manager really wants me, great, manager wants me, I want to go play for him, you know. Went there, wasn't told that I was going to be captain, it just kind of happened. He saw my leadership, saw the fact I was on the pitch being vocal. Craig Bellamy at the time was he was captain, but he wasn't playing that much. Mark Hudson as well was in and out of the team, so he pulled me aside, I think 5 or 6 games in, said, you're going to wear the armband today. And like, that for me was, wow, I took that in. Like, oh my God, do you know how much I took it in? So before the game, you've got to go obviously see the opposition, meet the captains and so on. I didn't even look at the set pieces. I forgot what I was marking. I was on the pitch first 15 minutes at a corner, don't know who my man was, because I was so focused on being a captain, forgot about being a defender. So I was like, I had to run over to the side. Malky Mackay was just looking at me. Like,
what's going on?
Don't know who my man is. So it was almost overwhelming. I was told 2 hours before to be captain of a Premier League team at the age of 21. Wow, just what a moment.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you had so much so quickly in your career, wasn't it? That was probably one of the biggest challenges there. It was just, you go in late to the system, so to speak, and then you just went bang, 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 bang. Like accelerated through all the steps quicker than any of us could ever dream of, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, you know, I think it's a good point, because a lot of people look and go, well, they sort of judge where you are based on where I am and so on. And it's like, actually, that's not really the case, because some of us are slow developers. Some of us rocket through. So, for example, Harry Kane went alone, wasn't that successful alone. Came back to Tottenham, change of manager. Tim Sherwood came in. That was just after the period I left. Gives him his debut.
Rest is history.
Rest is history. But like, it had a very different path to me. So it's like all about just finding what works for you. I shot to the top. Got there. Struggled to deal with the pressure, struggled to deal with that side of it. I'd come from very humble beginnings and all of a sudden earning millions of pounds. And I struggled to deal with it. You know, later on in my career, I fell out of football. And I fell out of love of football as well during that period. I had to go away and work on myself in order to come back and view it differently. Because I was, you know, I still believe today I'm fortunate to play football, right? It's what I love doing. But at times it became toxic, and I was feeling the negative pressure rather than looking at the things to be grateful for.
Not even wanting to go into training and things like that, no, just thinking get through the days and stuff like that. So you say you felt you fell off and things, and the sort of comeback for you would be going to Turkey, you know, that was like trying to find yourself and try and find the passion again. Yeah,
so I spent 6 months at Dundee. I took a 97% pay cut at the time. So it was like, I speak to a lot of young players now, they're like, oh, but I don't want to step down because how can I come back? And so when I was like, look, took one of the biggest jumps in football at the time, right? To step down to a smaller club. And amazing, loved it, because the boys were great, the club were great, fans were great, and it just eased the pressure on my shoulders. And after that, I never quite got the move that I wanted. I had an option straight into the season, and I thought, no, this time I'm going to be patient. And I missed the chance to go to Rosenborg, who were actually in Europa League. So it's not always about it's about choosing the right moment. The right things happen for a reason. So I left Dundee in the summer, and I spent 6 months training on my own. Right, I was calling lots of different teams, looking for opportunities to go on trial. Door kept on closing, and that's probably my story of resilience there. Because no matter how many doors closed in my face, I kept calling. I kept going to train every single morning, and eventually the door opened in Turkey to go on trial. And that trial I was actually ready for, because I'd spent those 6 months preparing, not sulking. I had my days where wow. I mean, normally I'd get up in the morning, right? There were days I didn't get up to 6 p.m. to train. It was just like, wow, like the depression was on me. I'm thinking I'm not going to make it back. But I did. I just found a way, right? So that's all my story of resilience. And Turkey was just an opportunity that I was not going to let slide by, you know? And I went there and things turned for me.
And what was it like going to a country? I mean, that's again linking back to kind of the boys that come in here to the academy. You're going somewhere where, you know, culture's different, the cuisine, the food's all different, the language, you know, you haven't got the language. What was that? Was that daunting? Did you embrace it? What would you sort of give people as advice for someone going into that situation?
I embraced it from the first minute. So as soon as I arrived, I said, I want to learn Turkish. So that was the thing that I focused on, to become myself a teacher. Started studying, started listening to as much Turkish as I possibly could, to the point I was sick of it by a couple of months in. But I was just like really focused on, right, let me build my future. So I only had a 6-month deal, but I had in my mind, I'm going to go to Fenerbahce. I had it. I spoke to my agent. I said, this is the plan. We're going to go here, we're going to build, and we're going to get to Fenerbahce. So I embraced the culture, absolutely. Learned the language, which really helped, because obviously it helps you mix in with your teammates, helps you with the coaches and understanding what they're wanting, how it helps you with the media, being able to do interviews in Turkish and stuff. So that was for me the first steps of that. Secondly was getting my way into the team. So it was a combination of being patient, but knowing when to knock on the manager's door, because I don't want him to think, oh, I'm here just for the warm weather. You know, I'm here to play. So it was just choosing the right moments, which is mostly down to experience. You know, speaking to other players and going, when's the right time to knock on the manager's door and ask him why am I not playing? What can I do to play? You know, rather than actually why am I not playing, what can I do to play? That kind of the change in question. So all of those steps helped create something really special there. And I created a life, not just the football. I created a life for me there.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then, so you got the move to Fenerbahce.
Yeah, great.
Happened. You got the move, like you set it out there, put it into the stars, and it came back. And then talk us through, like, you know, you've spoke to me a few times. It wasn't what you wanted, didn't work out how you wanted. And I think that's sort of the ruthless and cutthroat side of football that people don't always understand, you know?
No, exactly that. I mean, I'd said it from when I first arrived. Fenerbahce was the one for me. I went on loan. I had the option after my time at Landespor to go to Besiktas. Was in talks with Galatasaray. I had the option to go to Trabzonspor, Istanbul, Başakşehir. So I had sort of my pick, right? I could choose which club I wanted to go to. But because I had my heart set on Fenerbahce, that was the one I wanted. But unfortunately, 2 days in, after signing, new manager comes in, I don't want you, you can go. And I still look back now and I think my reaction, you know, that was for me the most disappointing thing. If I could look back, and it is a regret, you know, I often say, I don't have regrets, it shapes me to who I am. It has shaped me, it's part of my story, but I do definitely regret my reaction, because I just dropped, my shoulders dropped, my confidence dropped, and my world just come crashing down. When actually, that man, Vitor Pereira, was sacked after a few months again, you know, but I panicked, I thought I'm not good enough, and I was like, I let them send me out on loan. I went to a club that I wasn't ever comfortable in going to. You know, you've got to be right, you've got to feel right going to. And that sort of really unsettled me for a couple of years, actually. I just never quite felt good enough, and it rattled me, whereas I look back now and I think, I should have gone, okay, no problem, Gaffer. I'll train on my own. If you want to put me out with the kids, I'll go and train with the kids, no problem. I'll wait, I'll bide my time, I'll work like I did during that 6 months out of football. I'll do the same, and I'll be ready for when my chance comes. Started saying this at the beginning of this interview, hindsight's a wonderful thing. So, you know, these are the moments that definitely shaped me, but they are regrets.
Yes. And I think that's a really good for this section to finish on. You addressed the boys, you know, in your first day at the club, and that was the first thing you said was, right, the results haven't been going where we want them to go right now, but don't think about the results. Think about your reaction. And I guess a lot of that's come from all this experience that you've got, and, you know, and we're just so grateful and excited to be beginning this journey. You know, if you come in and working with yourself, you know, it's going to be something very special. And I mean, thank you for sharing so much of, you know, what you've been through and your playing and things like that. And I can't wait we're going to cut to a video and we'll come back. I can't wait to get into a little bit more about Simple with a coach, the manager, and what the future sort of looks like.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's been 10 years since I first played for England. Made my debut in a very famous game against Sweden, where we nicknamed it the Zlatan Show. He was incredible that day. I was fortunate enough to play, get my goal, and it felt like that would be the start of a long and promising England career. However, my career took a different turn. I had many issues in my personal life which I needed to address. Thankfully, today I sit here 3 years sober. I feel a different man. And Sierra Leone kindly offered me the opportunity to come and play in this tournament and represent Sierra Leone, where my granddad was from. So it's been a long journey. It's full of ups and downs, but it's one that actually for me fits very well with the country, because my story is one of persistence. You know, I never gave up when times were difficult, and I believe Sierra Leone is very much the same. So I think it's a good fit, and so far so good. I love being here, love being a part of it, and like I said, hopefully we can build.
Some amazing clips and footage from your Premier League time, and must have been an amazing feeling just to be able to sit back and think of all what you've achieved in the game. And for me, knowing you a very short period of time, I know that's just the beginning of all what you're going to give back to football for yourself and for anyone else involved with, you know, what you're doing and the projects you have and the passion you have for the game. And I mean, we've had some private conversations, you know, obviously not on the cameras. And you spoke a little bit about, you know, thinking, what do I want to do apart from just playing football, you know? And I'd love to speak a little bit more about, you know, you sort of call it transition, although you're still so young, you know, and you're still so fit, you know, so I don't think that's necessarily the right kind of title, but you've been on some different journeys with things that are close to your heart. And I know one of them is the Sierra Leone national team, and that's been a couple of years. You know, you mentioned that you've been getting involved, and really, what does that look like for you? And how did it come about? How does it work? And what's the connection?
Well, my granddad was from Sierra Leone, so I think it's 2014. I built a school over there. I wanted to give something back, so I was able to work with ActionAid and build a school over there. And I went to go visit, and I just felt so at home. It was amazing, the response I had, the welcome that I had, and I just thought at some point I want to do something more with Sierra Leone. But I didn't think it was going to be playing for Sierra Leone. It wasn't until prior to AFCON that I got the phone call. I said, "Look, what are you doing?" You know, Caulker reached out to me. Said, "Look, my uncle's part of the ambassadors there. He wants to get you in touch with the coach. They want you in. Are you up for it?" And I said, I don't know what this looks like. You know, it just put me on the spot. But I said, "Give me a few minutes. Give me a few days. Actually, I'll come back to you." And spoke to my dad about it. And I said, "I feel like I want to do it." And he was like, "Well, he's never actually been to Sierra Leone." So he was a bit like, "Well, are you sure?" You know, I said, "I love it. I love a challenge. Let's go and do it." So stepped into it, went for a couple of friendlies in Morocco, which was great introduction to go to Morocco first. It's not rural Africa. Morocco is a beautiful place. So went there, a lot of things that I saw, I was like, wow, very, very, very different from the Premier League, very different from the Turkish Super League. So okay, I want to do this, but I want to make some changes along the way. I want to help where I can. I want to share my experiences. I want to help create a new path for these boys to get opportunities in Europe and to build the team. So we've been doing that ever since. It's been 2 years now. Went to AFCON, unbelievable experience. Got great results against Algeria, Ivory Coast. Memories that, you know, the country will remember forever. Memories that I will also remember. And after the tournament, they asked me to be captain, and that was for me probably one of the greatest honours I've ever had in my life, because I've been given the opportunity to lead a nation, you know, it's not just a team. For me, it's they are football crazy. Every time we go to Sierra Leone, it's football. So it's an opportunity to inspire people, and that's what I really want to do. And you know, ever since I've been involved with Sierra Leone, we've made gradual progress off the pitch. We now need on the pitch to catch up, but that's what happens, right? You can't change the world in a day. It needs to be step by step. So we're lucky to have some really good coaches there who buy into it. We've got some young players who recruit from Europe who are now wanting to play for Sierra Leone. So the potential there is amazing. As I said, it's now just putting the work in step by step, building the right environment, the right culture, and leading the nation to success.
And you see yourself playing for foreseeable future? You've got quite a few years left, I think, playing, you know? I mean, how fit you're keeping yourself. I mean, you can rack up a lot of games, I'd imagine, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I went there as an assistant coach a couple of months ago, because whilst I'm not playing, I said to the coach, I don't think it makes sense for me to come as a player. I think there's other players that we can choose from that are going to be more ready than me, because no matter how fit you keep yourself, you're never going to be match fit. So we gave the opportunity to two young boys, and they were immense. They were great, and I loved the mentoring side of it. So I was there to help, to work on, you know, the defensive side of it, to work on the organisation and all of that stuff. So I loved it. That was my sort of, not my first taste of coaching, but my first taste of coaching first team football, where the points matter. Exactly. They were World Cup qualifiers, right? And the points matter. So it was after that where I really started to think, I want a taste of being a manager. I really want a taste of that.
So that's where you're kind of at now. So you do a lot of TV stuff as well, you know, so that's been something else that you've kind of gone into, that kind of realm and sort of experienced, and do a fantastic job of that as well, by the way. But now you've kind of set your chips in, said, you know, I'm going to be a manager, you know, and some of the conversations we've had, again, like I said, prior, very ambitious goals, and they'll stay private, but it's incredible to hear the process and the plans that you have. And how do you feel, or why do you feel this is the right time to say, you know, you could easily keep playing. You could easily keep playing at a very, very high level, I'm sure. You know, what's made you think now's the right time to really step in and become a first-team manager?
Well, I've been looking for a project. So ever since that period of Sierra Leone as assistant coach, I've been looking for a project. I've spoken to several teams. This for me just fits. It just fits. I've spent time in Alanya, which was a beautiful coastal town.
Yeah.
This is very similar. It gives me the very, very sort of similar feeling to what it was like there, where I think this is somewhere where we can build. We can actually build. We can bring players here. We can produce the young players here. We can strengthen the squad by bringing some young players on loan from different areas of Europe. And I think I really see the project here of developing players of all ages actually through the leagues, and you know, making Malaga City great, because you've already had great success as a club, but I think we can continue to push on there. And I'm like, that's what I wanted. I wanted a project that I could really dive into with guys that are hungry, that are motivated. And I'm not just saying this because you're sat there. The motivation amongst you and the staff is amazing, and it inspired me within these few days to go, okay, let's do something here.
Definitely. And I mean, I think it was probably just to get me to stop WhatsApping you as well, the amount of times I was like,
got to block it soon. You haven't stopped since I come here. You still get the same, no, I go home at 9 p.m. What about this player? What about that player? It's no, but it's great. I love it. You know, we're very similar in our drive, and I think we have very similar visions actually of wanting to encourage players and inspire players to be the best version of themselves. So every day in training, it starts with the prehab. It starts with getting there on time. Actually, I'll go one step back. Starts with getting there on time, starts with the prehab, starts with the warm-up. You know, all of the levels have to be there, standards, and that's what I hope to bring. I want to drive that. And the beauty of being a player and a manager, I'm able to do it from the pitch. I'm able to set the example by what I do and what you do.
Yeah, I think that as well. I mean, I think even just these few days, you know, with the train, obviously not really playing, so waiting for the licensing things to come through, but you're staying out doing extras. I mean, why do you need to stay out and do extras, you know, with where you come from, the levels you come from? It shows those standards and those values, you know. And I always think that football, I say it all the time, I don't get tired of saying it, is an amazing vehicle to help young people to get the right values for their life. You know, hopefully that will be football, even if it's not. You know, what you can show people through football can help them with everything they're going to do in their life, you know.
Yeah, you said it all. You said it all. For me, it's all about like the discipline. So it's like those skills that we learn as footballers could go into other industries, you know. Like I've started something in the UK called Behind the White Lines, where I'm helping players who are released from academies. When they're released at the age of 18, 19, where do they go? Often their social life has been impacted, their education has been impacted. So help support them into new pathways, help them back into football. I'm a big believer in second chances. One, because of my personal experience, but two, because I've seen it with other players, you know. Sometimes a different environment under a different manager with a different view can help players blossom, you know. And I'm seeing it already. There's so much potential within these individuals. Even the young boys that have come and trained with us, I can see it in them. So it's our job now as coaches to find that in them, find that confidence, find what works for them, you know. And that's why I'm here. I'm excited to do it.
And so you're here now, and you said at the top, you know, the language is going to be difficult, and you've learned already one language. You're very keen to learn Spanish as well. How do you see in the short term getting your messages across and things you'd like to bring to the club and philosophies, and how will you communicate that? How will you get around that challenge?
Body language, for sure. Body language is something. Again, leading by example. So doing the extras, doing the bits before, in training itself, you know, being vocal, even though I can't speak the language, I try. You know, so I've got the basics, but it obviously need a lot more to have that one-to-one conversation, because I think for me, the most important thing, a role of any manager is communication. You know, so the players always feel comfortable to come and speak one-to-one, to be able to speak in a team. It's really important the players know where they stand. The rest is up to them. You know, we can give our opinion as coaches. We can also help guide them. But it's up to them to then put it into action, right? So I want to learn Spanish as soon as possible, so I'm able to have those conversations, those individual conversations, understand players off the pitch, what they need. Everybody's different. Everyone has different needs, different wants, different desires.
Come from different backgrounds.
So, exactly, they all come from different backgrounds. So it's important for me that I learn the language as soon as possible. But whilst I'm in that process of learning it, I think it's important that my body language and the standards that I show people are there, because that's what I'm going to demand from them.
Definitely. And you've watched quite a few games before you come out. You know, you're always texting me saying, "Oh, this game, that game," etc. Now you've seen the players live. Is there anyone that sort of caught your eye, or any players you're excited to work with once you get back from there?
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, there's two young players that I'm looking at for sure in Cameron.
Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic player. I've been watching the games. Been really impressed with him. I also like Angel.
Yeah.
I think that he's got a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to sort of guiding him, especially as a centre half.
Yeah.
You know, working alongside him. And there's many others.
Yeah,
you know, there's many others within that. So it's not just going to be let's focus on the two.
Yeah.
Let's help bring the best out of those two.
Yeah.
You know, we can give them the best platform to showcase themselves.
Yeah.
They'll have their own ambitions, their own dreams, and we're not here to stop that.
them,
You know, we're here to help aid them with that.
Yeah.
So, you know, those are the two have stood out to me so far, but it's been a couple of days, so I look forward to seeing plenty more from the rest of the team.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to go on a break now from, you know, training. The guys get a few days off, not too much, and we're going to have some time with family, which is important at the end of the year. It's a nice part of Spanish football that you do get sort of a few days away from it all, but you've seen the environment, you've seen how we're trying to work. You know, we're trying to do the best we can, very limited budgets, and trying to make the environment the best it can be for the players. Is there any players you already can think of reaching out to, maybe from behind the white lines, players you played with, you think could come in and would thrive in this environment?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of players, and it's not just, I mean, I really want to bring young players in because I think they bring energy, they bring that desire, that motivation. But having said that, the experienced players also bring that.
Yeah.
And sometimes for the younger players to have that balance, to look up to a Puppy Cisse, who I've been trying to call every day since I arrived, you know, someone like him to come in to set the standards, to go, okay, you know what, this is what I do. 37 years of age, and he's an athlete. He is a really, real athlete, and he's dedicated. So it's like, I think, you know, obviously we're having conversations ourselves back and forth with the rest of the team about finding that balance, you know, of bringing some young players in who are going to bring the energy, but also the experienced players, for those young players to look at and go, wow, okay, he stays behind and does extras. Okay, it's not just Stephen doing it, actually. Papis is doing it, so-and-so is doing it. So that's what I'm thinking of the balance, and there's a lot of young players who are behind the white lines who are desperate for a second chance, and if we can help give them that chance here, fantastic.
Really good. Well, again, thank you for your time today, and you know, I know you've got lots going on. We've been very busy few days, and I'm just so grateful that you made time to. They should be going out, families will see it, and I think it's really important that, you know, they can see the ambition of the club, and me just to say on record, you know, how grateful I am that you believed in, you know, myself and the club, and you've really come in, and I can already see, you know, what a breath of fresh air it is, and really excited to get going in 2024 and working with you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here, and I said it's part of a project, a really exciting project, and let's see where we are in 5 years' time.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.